Gold News Today.
10. All eyes are suddenly fixed on Nick Freitas, a Republican member of the Virginia House of Delegates, now that he's ticked off a lot of Democrats with his powerful speech on guns that quickly went viral, raking in over 12 million Facebook views since Friday. The powerful and aggressive speech, which touched on inconvenient truths about the Democrat Party's history, even triggered some Democrats to walk off the House floor. Freitas delivered his remarks on Friday as a response to the very heated gun control debate. For several days now, some Democrats in the Virginia House of Delegates have made public speeches comparing those of us who take our oath to the Constitution seriously, to include the Second Amendment, to Nazis and segregationists, wrote the delegate on Facebook, captioning his speech, which he dubbed as his response to such attacks. The Republican first debunked the leftist notion that deterring so-called gun violence means further infringing on Second Amendment rights. Digging deeper than gun control measures that he noted have proven ineffective in areas like Chicago and Washington, D.C., he said Americans should be looking at why so many shootings happen in gun-free zones. And he called attention to the high likelihood that killers come from a broken home, which he connected to the growing welfare state and the abortion industry, and how hardening schools could be a practical, proactive step. Addressing the left's dirty tactics of impugning Republicans' moral character to push their gun control agenda, Freitas listed off some hard truths about the history of the Democratic Party, which ruffled some feathers. It's really difficult to have an open and honest debate about this, because members of this body are comparing members of the Republican side of the aisle to Nazis, he said, adding that it was particularly offensive that GOP members were also compared to segregationists. Freitas unleashed, "It was not our party that supported slavery, that fought women's suffrage, that rounded up tens of thousands of Asian Americans and put them in concentration camps, that supported Jim Crow, that supported segregation, or supported mass resistance. That wasn't our party, that was the Democrat Party," he said. "I'd be really appreciative that every time you want to make a powerful point, you don't project the sins, the atrocities, and the injustices the Democratic Party perpetrated on others onto us," slammed the Republican. He also noted the lame talking point that Republicans' representatives are paid off by the National Rifle Association, NRA. "Why don't you look at how much Planned Parenthood pays compared to the NRA, he said. "A true conversation," he said, "starts with a certain degree of mutual respect." Democrats were ticked off by the Republicans' remarks. It was apparently the acknowledgement of the disturbing history of the Democratic Party that made them so uneasy. So they cried racism. As reported by the Richmond Times-Dispatch, Delegate Lamont Bagby said he viewed Freitas' remarks as racial dog whistling. "We realize that we live in an ugly political moment. So while we were offended, we were not surprised," said Bagby. "It should embarrass every member of this body that we have allowed such rhetoric to enter these chambers. Bringing up a very painful past to make a political point is disgusting and poisonous. Remember, it's fine to suggest Republicans are choosing NRA money over saving children's lives, or branding them as Nazis and segregationists for disagreeing with Democratic talking points, but it is unacceptable a racial dog whistle actually to bring up historical truths about the party of slavery.